Harry Thompson only did the right thing. At his company party, his boss was too drunk to stand. No phone, no keys, no one willing to help. So Harry, a black single father with everything to lose, drove her somewhere safe. But the next morning, she woke up in his home, wearing his clothes, and one shaky phone call almost triggered HR, its security, and a story that could destroy his reputation before breakfast. While the world rushes to assume the worst, Harry stays calm and builds proof, because his daughter's future depends on it. Welcome to Silent Proof Stories, where truth doesn't shout, it reveals. If you love tense, emotional stories with dignity and justice, like, subscribe, and comment where you're watching from. Safety was being real and leaving a trail of truth behind you, so the world couldn't rewrite you. The company's annual party was in full swing around him. Laughter rose and fell in waves, glasses clinked, and the upscale restaurant seemed built for people who never had to worry about being late. But Harry's mind was 15 miles away at Jefferson Elementary School, where his daughter Ella would take the stage in just over an hour. For 2 weeks she had reminded him like it was her job. "Daddy, you have to sit in the front row, promise me." And he had promised the way he always did, quietly, seriously, because keeping promises to his little girl was the one thing in this world he refused to trade away. Harry had spent 6 years building a reputation at Harrison Financial, brick by brick, senior analyst, clean record, no drama, no gossip, no mistakes that could be turned into something else. He understood something that some of his colleagues never had to think about, that for him the margin for error was thinner, not because he was less capable, because the world was quicker to assume the worst if it needed a story. So he stayed careful, he stayed professional, he stayed invisible in all the ways that mattered. Tonight was supposed to be simple. Show his face for 1 hour, shake the right hands, smile when expected, then slip out in time to see Ella in the spotlight. He had even planned his exit route, coat on the chair, keys in pocket, door on the left side of the bar. He was already halfway standing when his eyes landed on Cara Carter. Cara was drunk, not tipsy, not a little loose, drunk in a way that made people look away. The kind of drunk that became office gossip by Monday morning, even if nobody admitted they were watching. Cara was his direct supervisor, the director of their department. Until tonight, Harry had never seen her as anything but polished control. Sharp suits, sharper decisions. The kind of woman who could silence a room with one look. But something had changed in the past few weeks. The divorce, people whispered. 15 years ended suddenly, and the reason had travelled faster than any official statement. Her husband had been unfaithful with someone young enough to still look like the future. Cara had continued showing up to meetings as if nothing touched her, but the edges had started to show. Shorter temper, longer pauses, a quiet sadness she buried under efficiency. Harry watched her reach for another glass of wine, her movements unsteady, her eyes glazed and unfocused. A few executives glanced her way, then turned back to their conversations like they hadn't seen anything. Junior staff pretended to be busy. Nobody wanted to be the person responsible for the boss falling apart in public. Harry checked his watch. 6:52. He needed to leave now if he was going to make it. He grabbed his coat from the back of his chair and started toward the exit. He was 3 steps from the door when he heard the crash. Cara had knocked over her purse. Its contents spilled across the polished floor, lipstick, receipts, a compact mirror that spun and stopped under the restaurant lights. She dropped to her knees to gather everything, hands shaking as she fumbled. When she tried to stand, she stumbled. A waiter rushed over. "Ma'am, are you okay?" Cara waved him away with a slurred, "I'm fine." No one believed it. Harry stood frozen with his keys in his hand. This wasn't his problem. Cara was a grown woman, his boss, someone with more power and resources than he would ever have. She could call a cab. She could ask an executive. She could figure it out, and Harry could keep his promise. But then he saw what made his chest tighten. Kara was digging through her purse like she was searching for something urgent. Wallet, tissues, makeup, a company keycard holder, then her phone, screen cracked and dark dead battery. Her hands moved faster, more desperate. And then she stopped, staring down at the open purse with a blank panic. She couldn't find her keys. Harry glanced around the room again. The executives had migrated to the far corner like it was choreography. The junior staff looked suddenly fascinated by the ceiling. No one moved toward Kara. No one was going to help her. Harry pictured Ella backstage, searching the audience for his face. He pictured her eyes scanning the rows the way she always did when she was nervous. He pictured the small tightness around her mouth when she tried not to cry. He thought about what it would mean if he left Kara here, too drunk to stand, phone dead, keys missing, no one willing to take responsibility. And then he thought about what it would mean if he stayed. A black man, a subordinate, taking his drunk white female boss somewhere private. Every instinct he had developed over 38 years of living in a world that was quick to judge and slow to forgive screamed at him to walk away. This was exactly the kind of situation he had avoided his entire life, the kind where intentions didn't matter, where optics could destroy you before truth had a chance to speak. But Harry also thought about his daughter, and the kind of man he wanted her to believe he was. He turned around. He walked back to where Kara was still swaying. "Miss Carter," he said quietly, professional. "Do you have someone I can call to pick you up?" Kara looked up with glassy eyes, struggling to focus. "Harry, why are you still here? Do you have someone I can call?" He repeated. "Family? A friend?" Kara shook her head slowly, then winced. "Rachel's in Boston. My phone is dead. What about your address?" Harry asked. "I can call you a cab." Kara stared at him blankly, then laughed, hollow, bitter. "I just moved last week. I can't remember the new address. It's in my phone." She blinked hard, and Harry saw something close to shame. "God," she whispered. "I'm pathetic." Harry felt the weight of his keys in his pocket. 7:03. Ella would be going on at 8. He could leave. No one would blame him. No one would even know. But he would know. "Okay," he said quietly, more to himself than to her. "Okay." He pulled out his phone and dialed a number he knew by heart. Angela, retired schoolteacher, the woman who watched Ella after school, picked up on the second ring. "Angela," Harry said, "I need a huge favor. Can you take Ella to her performance tonight? Something came up at work, and I can't," he swallowed. "I can't make it." The silence on the other end lasted only a second, but it felt like a full minute. "Of course," Angela said gently. "But she's going to be disappointed, I know." His voice cracked. "Tell her I love her. Tell her I'll watch the video 100 times. Tell her I'm sorry." He ended the call and turned back to Kara. "Come on," he said, taking her arm to steady her. "I'm going to get you somewhere safe. Where are we going?" She mumbled. Harry didn't answer. The truth was, he only had one option. Her phone was dead. She didn't know her address. She couldn't even stand without swaying. Harry couldn't leave her in a hotel lobby like this and hope the world stayed kind. So he took her to the only place he could keep an eye on her until she sobered up. His home. The drive took 20 minutes. Kara drifted in and out of consciousness in the passenger seat. Halfway there, she suddenly grabbed his arm. "Stop the car," she gasped. "I'm going to be sick." Harry pulled over just in time. Kara stumbled out and vomited onto the grass, gripping the car door for support. Harry found a bottle of water in the back seat and handed it to her when she was done. "Thank you," she whispered, voice raw. "I'm sorry." Harry helped her back into the car and kept driving. When he pulled into his driveway, the house was dark. Angela must have already left with Ella. The realization hit him like a physical blow. Somewhere across town, his daughter was about to perform the biggest moment of her 8-year-old life, and she would look into the audience and not find her father's face. Harry had done the right thing. He kept telling himself that as he guided Cara up the front steps, as he unlocked the door to his modest 2-bedroom house, as he helped her onto the couch. The right thing. But sitting in the darkness of his living room, listening to Cara's uneven breathing while his daughter performed without him, Harry couldn't help wondering if the right thing was going to cost him everything. Harry didn't sleep. After settling Cara on the couch, he found a clean blanket in the closet and draped it over her. Her dress was wrinkled and stained, so he left one of his old t-shirts and a pair of sweatpants folded on the coffee table, along with a glass of water and 2 aspirin. He noticed her phone on the floor where it had fallen from her purse. The screen was cracked, but the device seemed fine, just dead. He plugged it into a charger near the couch. Then he sat down at the kitchen table and wrote a note on a piece of paper torn from Ella's homework notebook. Miss Carter, you were at my house. You had too much to drink at the company party and couldn't get home safely. I'm sleeping in my daughter's room. If you need anything, knock on the door at the end of the hall. Harry. He placed the note next to the water glass, where she would see it the moment she opened her eyes. Then he retreated to Ella's room and lay on the floor beside her bed, staring at the glow in the dark stars she'd stuck on the ceiling 2 years ago. At 9:30, his phone buzzed. A text from Angela. She did amazing. Standing ovation, but she kept looking for you. I recorded the whole thing, sending it now. Harry stared at those words until his vision blurred. A video file arrived a moment later, but he couldn't bring himself to watch it. Not yet. At 10:45, Angela's car pulled into the driveway. Harry met her outside, pulling the front door closed behind him so the noise wouldn't wake Cara. She fell asleep in the car, Angela said quietly, gesturing to Ella slumped in the back seat. Thank you, Harry whispered. I know it was last minute. Angela studied his face. Everything okay, Harry? Work emergency, he said. The lie tasted bitter, but he couldn't tell the truth out loud. Not when truth could be twisted. Angela didn't press. She helped him lift Ella into his arms. Daddy, Ella murmured, half asleep. I'm here, baby, Harry whispered. Let's get you to bed. He carried her inside, moving quietly past the living room. Cara's silhouette was visible on the couch. Ella's eyes fluttered open at exactly the wrong moment. Daddy, she mumbled, lifting her head. Who's that lady? Harry's heart stuttered. She's someone from my work, he said softly. She got sick and needed a place to rest. Ella squinted at the couch, then looked back at her father. Is she going to be okay? She'll be fine by morning. Now let's get you to bed. He tucked Ella in and kissed her forehead. She grabbed his hand. You missed my song, Daddy. Simple words. No accusation. That somehow made them worse. I know, Harry whispered. I'm so sorry. Angela recorded it. I'll watch it first thing tomorrow. I promise. Ella was quiet for a moment. Okay, she said, forgiving him too easily. Harry lay on the floor beside her bed again and waited for morning the way people wait for a verdict. Morning came too quickly. Harry woke to grey light and the sound of movement in the living room. He checked his phone. 6:53. He crept to the hallway door. Cara was sitting upright on the couch, her head in her hands. Even from a distance, Harry could see her shoulders shaking. He should give her space. Let her read the note. Let her understand. That would be smart. But then her phone, charged now, lit up on the coffee table. Cara grabbed it with trembling hands and dialed someone. Harry froze, close enough to hear. Rachel? Cara said, voice rough. I don't know what happened. A voice answered faintly on the other end. Cara's breathing grew ragged. I woke up in someone's house. A man's house. I'm wearing clothes that aren't mine. Harry's stomach dropped. And my laptop is gone, Kara whispered. My company laptop. My badge. Rachel, my badge. I can't find it. I don't remember anything after the party. Harry pressed his back against the wall, feeling the ground shift beneath him. It didn't matter what actually happened. It mattered what story people believed. Rachel's voice rose on the other end, sharp and urgent. Kara's voice broke. His name is Harry. He works for me. I don't remember how I got here. I can't remember, Rachel. What if my laptop has client data? What if someone took it? Harry heard the words that made the room colder. Call it. Call HR. This is a security incident. Harry's blood turned to ice. Then a small voice behind him said, Daddy? Harry spun around. Ella stood in her doorway, rubbing sleep from her eyes. Good morning, sweetheart, he whispered, forcing calm. Let's get breakfast, okay? Quietly. Our guest is waking up. But Ella had already spotted Kara through the living room doorway. Before Harry could stop her, she padded forward in bare feet. Are you feeling better today, ma'am? Ella asked. Kara looked up, startled, phone still pressed to her ear. Mascara was smeared beneath her eyes. She stared at the little girl like she didn't belong in the story she was building. What? Kara whispered. Daddy said you were sick, Ella said. My daddy makes good soup when I'm sick. Do you want some? Kara's gaze shifted from Ella to Harry. Something flickered across her face. Confusion, then calculation, then a sudden, quiet realization. Rachel, hold on, Kara said, lowering the phone. Then she stared at Harry. You have a daughter? Yes, Harry said softly, placing his hands on Ella's shoulders. This is Ella. I'm 8, Ella added. I was in a play last night. Harry's stomach tightened. Daddy couldn't come, Ella continued, because he was helping you. The words hung in the air like a clean bell. Kara's eyes drifted around the room. Child drawings on the refrigerator. School photos. A stack of picture books. A tiny pair of sneakers by the door. Then she spotted the note on the coffee table, half hidden beneath the water glass. She picked it up and read it slowly. Her lips moved as she traced the words. Kara swallowed. Rachel, she said quietly into the phone, I'll call you back. And she ended the call. For a long moment, no one spoke. Kara looked at Harry like she was seeing him for the first time. Harry, she said hoarsely, I need to ask you something, and I need you to tell me the truth. Harry nodded, even though every muscle in his body was braced. Did you take my laptop? She asked. Did you take my badge? Harry exhaled slowly. No. He kept his voice steady because he knew panic didn't help. Panic made people fill in blanks. Panic turned detail into damage. You were very drunk, he said. Your phone was dead. You couldn't find your keys, and you couldn't remember your new address. No one was helping you. I couldn't leave you there. He gestured toward the couch. I brought you here. I left clean clothes because your dress was ruined. I wrote that note so you wouldn't wake up scared. I charged your phone so you could call someone. And I slept on the floor in my daughter's room. That's everything. Kara stared at him, searching for something to contradict. Then she looked down and checked her purse again, slower this time. Careful. She reached into a torn inner seam and pulled out a thin plastic card. Her badge. It had been wedged inside the lining. Kara's face shifted. Shame landed quietly. The laptop was still missing. Harry didn't celebrate. He didn't gloat. He didn't even look relieved. He just stayed calm, because he knew calm was his only armor. It might still be at the restaurant, he said. Or under your table. Or in the coat check area. Kara swallowed. Rachel already. She already said HR. Harry nodded once. I heard. Kara looked at Ella again, then at Harry. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I panicked." Harry didn't answer with anger. He answered with the truth he'd lived too long. "I don't have the luxury of being misunderstood," he said quietly. "What people report matters." Kara's eyes filled again, but she didn't cry. She just sat there, holding the note like it was something fragile. Ella tugged Harry's sleeve. "Daddy, can we watch my video now?" Harry hesitated. He hadn't watched it yet. He couldn't. But he nodded. "Okay, baby." He played the video Angela sent. It was shaky, filmed from the middle of the audience. Ella was in a green costume, singing with total conviction. Then near the end, Ella looked directly at the camera and gave a tiny wave like she knew her father would watch later. And then she broke character. "Daddy," she said in the video, smiling. "I know you're busy, but I love you." The audience laughed softly. Harry felt his eyes burn. "That's my favourite part," Ella said. "I added it myself." Kara stood very still beside them. When the video ended, Kara swallowed hard. "I need to make a call," she said quietly. She stepped into the living room and dialed. "Rachel," Kara said, voice clearer now. "Listen to me. I remember enough. Nothing happened. He helped me. I panicked." Harry couldn't hear Rachel's full response, but he could imagine her skepticism, her protective fear. Kara's voice grew firmer. "Rachel, he has an 8-year-old daughter. He missed her performance because he was making sure I was safe. He wrote a note, he charged my phone, he slept in his daughter's room." Her voice cracked, "and I almost turned this into something that could have ruined him. Don't do that. Don't report him. If anything gets reported, it should be that I made a mistake." A pause. "Yes," Kara said. "I'm sure." Another pause. "Thank you," Kara whispered. "And Rachel, never let me drink like that again." She ended the call. Then she turned to Harry. "I owe you more than an apology," she said. "And I'm afraid it's already moving." Harry nodded, because he felt it too. Some things, once set in motion, didn't stop just because the truth arrived. Kara called the restaurant. The manager found her laptop under the table near the wall, slipped behind a chair leg where nobody noticed. It had been safe the whole time. Kara left in a cab wearing Harry's old t-shirt and sweatpants because her dress was still ruined. She looked nothing like the person who ran meetings, and somehow that made her look more human. Harry stood in the doorway after she left and watched the street until the cab turned the corner. His house felt quiet again, but his chest didn't unclench, because the danger wasn't Kara anymore. It was the system. Monday morning arrived like a test. Harry walked into the office expecting whispers. Instead, the floor was normal. Phones rang, printers hummed, people chatted about weekends. For a moment, he thought maybe it had passed. Then he checked his email. A calendar invite, HR plus compliance, meeting request. No subject line beyond that, no explanation, just a time and a room. Harry stared at it until his hands went cold. He could hear Kara's voice from the weekend. "It's already moving." He didn't panic. He did what he had learned to do. He built proof. He printed the note he wrote, the photo he'd taken of it, on his phone, timestamp included. He saved the phone charge time from the Outlet Smart Plug app he used to monitor energy use. He saved his doorbell camera footage, showing him helping Kara inside. No laptop in his hands, no bag carried out. He asked Angela for a short statement. She picked up Ella at 7:10, performance at 8, returned at 10:45. He saved the text message and the video file receipt. By the time the meeting arrived, Harry had a folder. Not because he wanted to fight, because he had learned that sometimes survival required receipts. In the HR room, the lights were soft and the air smelled like paper. Miss Patel from HR sat with a calm face and a laptop open. Mr. Lane from its security sat beside her. Kara sat across the table, looking smaller than she ever had in a boardroom. "Harry," Miss Patel said gently, "thank you for coming." Harry nodded. We received an incident report regarding a missing company laptop and badge, Mr. Lane said formal. We're required to document and verify. Harry kept his face neutral. Miss Patel looked at Kara. Kara, would you like to clarify what happened? Kara exhaled. I was intoxicated. I lost track of my belongings. Harry helped me get home safely. He did not take my laptop. He did not take my badge. I panicked when I woke up, and I called a friend. That friend escalated too quickly. Mr. Lane nodded, but his eyes stayed on procedure. We still need to confirm chain of custody, he said. Harry didn't argue. He opened his folder. He laid the note on the table first. Then the photo of it. Timestamp. Then the doorbell footage screenshot. Then Angela's statement. Then the phone charging time. Then the restaurant manager's email confirming the laptop was found under the table and returned. The room stayed quiet as Miss Patel read. When she looked up, her voice was softer. Harry, she said, thank you for documenting this. Harry nodded once. Mr. Lane cleared his throat. It appears the laptop was not stolen. It was misplaced. Kara looked down. Miss Patel closed her laptop slowly. There's still one issue, she said carefully. This situation created risk for the company, for Kara, and for Harry. Harry's mouth tightened slightly. He waited. Miss Patel continued. Our event safety policies aren't clear enough. We don't have a standardized process for getting an intoxicated employee home safely without placing responsibility on a single individual. Kara lifted her head. That's my fault, she said. I should have asked for help. I should have called security. I should have. It isn't only your fault, Miss Patel said calmly. It's a gap. Mr. Lane nodded. We should have had a safe ride protocol at a company event. Voucher system. Escort option. A hotline. Something. Harry listened, and something inside him loosened. Not because it was over, because for once the system was admitting it had built a trap. Miss Patel turned to Harry. Harry, I want to ask you something. You did a responsible thing. But in the future, we want you to feel protected too. Would you be willing to help us improve the policy from an employee perspective? Harry hesitated. He didn't want to be a symbol. He didn't want to be used, but he also knew what it meant if nothing changed. He nodded once. Yes, he said quietly, as long as it protects everyone. Kara's eyes filled again. After the meeting, Miss Patel emailed a formal conclusion. No wrongdoing by Harry Thompson. It was in writing. It would live in a file. If anyone tried to whisper later, there would be a document that refused to bend. Kara requested a private meeting with Harry the next day, not in a glass conference room, in a small office with the blinds half open and no audience. I'm sorry, she said. Not the kind of sorry people say when they want things to go back to normal. I mean, I saw how fast it could have become something else. And I didn't understand before. Harry didn't respond with anger. He responded with honesty. I've spent my whole life being careful, he said. Sometimes that's just survival. Kara nodded. I know. I didn't know. But I know now. A week later, the company announced new policy changes. No big speech. No dramatic press release. Just a memo. Company event, safe ride vouchers. On-site safety point person. Clear procedure. No employee transports an intoxicated co-worker alone. Security escort available. Training framed around safety, fairness and dignity, not blame. The office moved on, but something subtle had changed. Kara still wasn't Harry's friend. She still assigned work and asked for deadlines and held standards, but she looked at him differently now, not like a tool, like a person. 2 weeks later, it was the night of Ella's Christmas play. She was playing an angel. She made Harry promise again. Front row, she said, serious as ever. Promise, Harry said, and this time the promise didn't feel like a fragile wish. It felt like something solid. He arrived early, sat in the front row, phone on silent, eyes forward. When Ella stepped onto the stage in her costume, she scanned the audience. Her face lit up when she saw him. And she waved. Just a tiny wave, like a secret between them. Harry waved back, and his chest filled with something he didn't have a clean word for. Not relief, not victory, something quieter, a sense that he had survived a moment that could have broken him, and he had done it without becoming hard. After the play, Ella ran into his arms. "Did you see me?" she asked. "I saw you," Harry whispered, every second. On the drive home, Ella fell asleep in her booster seat, angel wings folded beside her. Harry drove through soft streetlights, one hand on the wheel, the other resting near the cup holder, where his phone buzzed once with a message. It was from Cara. A short one. "Don't ever miss the front row again." Harry stared at it for a moment, then locked the phone and kept driving. He didn't need the system to love him. He didn't need his boss to become a hero. He needed something simpler. A world where doing the right thing didn't automatically mean paying with your life. A world where proof mattered, where dignity counted, where a man could help someone and not be punished for it. At home, Harry carried Ella inside and tucked her into bed. She murmured, half asleep, "You came." "I came," Harry said softly. He turned off the light and stood in the hallway for a moment, listening to the quiet. Not empty quiet, the kind of quiet that meant the danger had passed. For now. And in that quiet, Harry understood something he hadn't fully believed before. Safety wasn't being invisible.